Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Glascast Podcast on this wonderful episode. It's going to be a continuation of the episode we started last time, the DNA testing and paternity fraud. And we'll look at it from different angles in this episode. We'll look at the medical implications, the use of it for crime detection, the political implications, the family implications, the cultural implications. We're going to look at it from a holistic perspective. You know, usually when we talk about DNA testing, what comes to mind is only, use it to catch cheating husbands and cheating wives. But tonight, we're going to look at it holistically and hope that we'll bring you a very intellectual discussion and information in that regard. And I have able-bodied and competent hands in the studio to analyze and to, bring us simulating discussion in that aspect. And to my far left is Barrister Ikenna Njoko, who will be leading us in the legal angle and the legal implications and ramifications of that. And to my immediate left is Dr. Dan, who is a forensic expert. He will be leading us in the medical and the criminal aspect of it. He's a forensic expert and is also knowledgeable in crime and crime detection and crime prevention. So sit back and enjoy yourself, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all. I would start off right away with Dr. Dan by my immediate left. And Dan, please, could you talk us through the issue of DNA testing and the use of DNA testing in medical science in terms of using it to detect diseases and improve the medical field, like curing diseases and detecting early detection of disease. How does that help, or how do you think that can be used?
All right. Thank you very much. At least, though, if we're to narrow down for our discussion today on paternity fraud and testing, that's going to be it. But if we're going to go into medical aspects, it's going to be very, very, very broad. You understand? Like, I'll just give you an instance. Like, we've used DNA on, let me just say molecular, whether DNA or RNA, you can see the role it played during the COVID-19 PCR testing. And that particular way is actually to test if the gene is present, the COVID-19, and which I was privileged to be among the scientists who worked at the Queen Elizabeth University Hospital to be able to do the COVID-19 test and trace in the whole of Scotland and Northern England. So as you can see, it could help to detect diseases. And I don't want to go too much into technicalities like that, but I just want to say almost any kind of, whether it's sickle cell anemia, though genotype can really do that. But talking about some kind of diseases like cystic fibrosis and Down syndrome, like for instance, we have Down syndrome, Klinefelter syndrome, testing genetic abnormalities. These things have been helping DNA has been applied for detection of diseases as well. But today, I'm like I said, if we're going to go into that, we'll be deviating from our topic a bit.
What I want us to understand and agree is that a lot of times, especially from where we are coming from, when we talk about DNA testing, is always the issue of to identify who is the mother, who is the father. Was there a case of cheating for paternity? Was there a case of cheating? Is there a case of somebody taking care of an offspring that he did not spermatozoa? Let me use that word. So, but from what you are saying now, there are much wider use of
for medical application. It's very broad.
Very broad.
And my own work is not very much focused on the medical aspect. It's into crime detection, and I can tell you.
Don't worry, I'm going to
what does we do with that?
I'm going to come to that. I want to Barrister Njoku to give us an idea of the legal implications of DNA testing in terms of paternity fraud. If you can look at it from that aspect, what is your thoughts on it, and what?
Thank you very much. I think for the ordinary man and woman, especially people from our community, the idea of DNA is so important, especially in trying to find out whether they actually are the biological father or mother of their kids. But just as Dan has said, the issue of DNA generally, as far as I am concerned, is so important in our communities that they span across just finding out whether you are the mother or the father. If, for instance, somebody gets sick and it happens that that's a child that you did not father, and you take the child to the hospital and the child needs the kind of medical intervention that will depend on whether somebody is the father or the mother.
Right?
You understand? Right. So this kind of things might come in, and then you will realize that that is where the discovery of DNA we have to play a very important role in that area.
So go ahead, please. Sorry.
So when we talk about DNA generally, I see that it has a kind of acquired a negative connotation for the people in our communities. That once you mention it, especially women, we say no, don't go to us, that side. But it has other advantages apart from the legal aspect of whether you are the mother or the father of
now,
the child.
If I'll talk about the legal implication. If after a DNA testing, especially to test whether the person taking care of a particular child at a particular time is the actual father, the biological father.
Yes.
Let me use that word, the proper word. Now, what will be if it turns out to be the other way around, that the person who is taking care of this child is not the biological father? What are the legal implications?
The legal implication, first and foremost, in terms of the spousal relationship,
right,
will mean that if there are issues of inheritance, the man obviously may
disinherit the child.
Right. But there's a very important point which I was trying to clarify the last time. When a man finds out that he is not the father of a child, biological father, and he decides to accept that child as his own and raise that child up, I think it works well legally where the man, let's say, is a good man and who has decided to take care of the kid. Where the man is not good, the reason I say this is because there are certain situations where you cannot enforce parental obligation on a man who is not the biological father of a kid, a child.
Right.
But where the man accepts responsibility to take care of the child, and then a child who is not his biologically, and then you realize that the thing is not legal in the sense that there are no legal rules to govern, especially in our society. Not here that we know that child protection is very, very strong. In our society in Nigeria, when a man takes charge of that, and then it happens that the man is not the father, the biological parent of the child, the man, as far as I'm concerned, the man, for the child and the society to be safe, the man has to be made by law to have the obligation to provide parental care, which ordinarily should be the responsibility of the biological father. You understand? Because if we don't do it, and it happens that a man who is, a social parent, takes responsibility to care for a child that is not his, but it happens that there is no law to enforce parental obligation on that man, and the man, all of a sudden, 1 year after, 2 years after, that thing ringing in his head, after all, this woman was unfaithful to me, giving me a child who is not mine.
We're going to come to that.
You understand what I mean?
Let me